Hi, this is Dr. Victoria Skirbo speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. And I'd like to speak to you today about the upcoming eclipse that occurs on the 26th of February. It is a solar eclipse, and it is at 9 degrees of Pisces. But I also need to speak to you of the week before the solar eclipse and the time right there after the solar eclipse. Now, we just had a lunar eclipse in the sign of Leo. The moon was in Leo, the sun was in Aquarius. It was a south node eclipse. The sun was close to the south node. The south node is still in Pisces. The north node in Virgo, of course, 180 degrees away from the south node. The south node is the release point, and so we are being required during this eclipse season to let go of something, and we let go of what is symbolized by the south node of the moon, and that is Pisces. And with Pisces, we are letting go of our illusions, our delusions, our need to give our life up for something, any kind of martyrdom that we might be experiencing or perpetrating on ourselves or others, the need to be a victim. These are all Piscean, negative Pisces qualities. There's also the question of addiction, generally associated with the addiction to substances such as alcohol or drugs, but it could be an addiction to anything. Addictions really are a way of us coping with our pain, and if we can't face our pain and not keep running away from it, then we are not going to get the benefit of these two eclipses. Now, the eclipse on the 26th is a south node eclipse. We have the sun and the moon at the south node. And I'm going to talk about that eclipse. I'm going to show you the eclipse. I have it behind me on a piece of paper. But I want to talk to you a little bit about what's coming up as we get closer and closer to the eclipse. And you may be feeling an increased intensity. That is due to the planet Mars. Because it's also due to the fact that we're in the time between two eclipses, which is always quite intense in its way. But right now Mars is in Aries, and it is moving and activating the cardinal T-square that is in the sky. Actually, let's talk about that cardinal T-square. The cardinal T-square is between Pluto, Uranus, and Jupiter. Pluto is square Uranus, Pluto is square Jupiter, and Uranus and Jupiter are in opposition to each other. They are the major players. And that is the engine that has been sort of chugging along, creating a lot of the revolutionary energy that's in the air, both in the quality of those who are disrupting the status quo, and then those who are rebelling against that. Now, in a strange sort of way, it's hard to say who the good guys and the bad guys are. And what I mean by that is both sides are doing their part, and both sides are creating the change. We need both sides of this this equation in order for it to actually work. So Mars in Aries is now moving closer and closer to a square to Pluto. Mars and Pluto kind of are they act as a team in that Pluto is the higher octave of Mars. Mars is our desires, and Pluto is our desires that we're aware of, our conscious desires, and Pluto is our unconscious desires. And these two planets work together in tandem to make our unconscious desires conscious. Now, they had a conjunction a couple of months back. It started a new cycle. That's a 2-year cycle. It takes Mars to go around the zodiac to meet back up with Pluto. And on the 22nd, it is, yes, that is a Wednesday, Mars makes a first quarter square to Pluto, a crisis in action. And so there's a need to act within this square. Now, Mars is in Aries, so there's plenty of reason to act. However, we're acting on our unconscious desires. Pluto in Capricorn, which is sort of the boss of this situation, it's kind of like Pluto is the boss and Mars is its minion and goes out there and wreaks havoc at times, but certainly initiates change. Mars is very good at that, especially in Aries. Not all that good in follow through, but it does sort of seed something. It plants something. That's what Aries is. Aries is the seed thought, right? And so Pluto is our sense of empowerment or disempowerment in Capricorn, and the structure of our power and the breaking down of structures that are to a certain extent disempowering so that we can become more empowered. It almost doesn't, I don't know, it's like, it's a paradox. Like everything is a paradox. So I say these things and you could take them many different ways. One of the things I've said before is that the planets and the energies don't really care how you use them. They're there and they'll express themselves, and it's up to us how to utilize the energy. And so Pluto and Mars can be a very beneficial energy to work together. Some of the greatest healers have difficult aspects between Pluto and Mars. Or good, easier aspects between Pluto and Mars, but certainly it can create a lot of change and create a lot of havoc. So we have that occurring on the 22nd. And then on the day of the eclipse, we have Mars making its conjunction to Uranus, and this is very explosive. And then the next day, on the 27th, we have Mars making an opposition to Jupiter. And I'm going over this because, at least here in America, we're in quite a, I don't know how to explain it. Things are happening fast and furious here. And so we don't really know what's going to happen, per se. I couldn't tell you what's going to happen. I can only tell you the energies that are out there. The energy of Mars making a conjunction to Uranus on the day of the eclipse is really about the need to act and be free and to sort of crack open the egg so that the cosmic light can come in. Unfortunately, that can be very violent at times. It doesn't have to be, but often is. It really kind of depends on who's wielding, how you're wielding your energy. So I wanted to say that as I, because I'm actually doing this as I'm telling you. I don't really have a plan or a plot of what I'm going to say. I kind of let spirit move through me, if I could say. And so, what is your intentions? How do you want to put your energy out there? That is going to be the most important thing as we come closer and closer to this very transformational week. We will look back and know that this was a very pivotal time in our both our collective, personal, national, and soul history. Okay, so I'm gonna bring you over to the chart of the eclipse, and we're gonna talk a little bit about that. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so here we have the eclipse chart, and I hope you can see this. Now, I had said that Mars was activating the cardinal T-square in the chart, and here we see not exactly a cardinal T-square. We actually see a grand cardinal cross. And I didn't talk about the other piece of this that is connected to the T-square, and that is the planet or minor planet. Hold on. I have to look myself. Okay, the asteroid, sorry, not a minor planet, the asteroid Vesta, and we can see Vesta right here. And we can see that Vesta is in the sign of Cancer. And she is at 20 degrees 29 minutes of Cancer. Mars and Uranus, I'm going to pull out a little bit. Mars and Uranus, they're the ones kind of circled in red there. They're at 22, we could say, rounded off, of Aries. And then up here, we have Pluto in Capricorn at about 19 degrees of Capricorn. And then we have Jupiter down here at 23 degrees of Libra. So this is a very tight grand square. Now, the thing with the thing I didn't talk about was Vesta. I'll just tell you a little bit about Vesta. Vesta is a goddess, an asteroid associated with the goddess Vesta, who was the goddess of the hearth and the goddess of what we focus and put our attention on. And in Cancer, we put our attention on the need for nurturing, the need to take care of one another, the need to take care of our families, and our emotional needs. And so we need to look here at our emotional needs during this time. Now, that is really sort of in the spirit of the fact that we are dealing with a Pisces solar eclipse, because Pisces is also a water sign, as is Cancer. And so it's a very emotional time, but it is a south node eclipse. And so you can see right here we have the south node at 3 degrees, 24 minutes of Pisces, and then we have the sun and the moon, and then conjunct the sun and the moon is Neptune. And this is a south node, so it's about letting go. And in Pisces, we need to let go of our illusions and our delusions. The idea that somebody could save us, that we have a sort of a Christ figure to save us from ourselves, or the aliens are going to come and save us, or something outside of us can actually save us, is something that we need to let go of. Because the only one who's going to save us is us. And we need to do that in a very real and practical way. And we can see that with the south node, with the north node in Virgo. The north node is still in Virgo. This is actually the last eclipse of the Virgo Pisces nodal placement. The Virgo Pisces node is going to move out on May 9th. And go into Leo and Aquarius. And so this is sort of a last, as I could say, psychic poop for us to let go of all those things I talked about when I talked about Pisces. And then, of course, we have this very potent conjunction of Mars and Uranus. That starts a 2-year cycle. And the Sabian symbol for 22 degrees of Pisces, 22 degrees of Aries, where this conjunction of Mars and Aries is actually quite a beautiful symbol. And I don't have it written here, but I will get back to you on that. All right, so really what I want to say about this, this incidentally this chart is drawn for the Washington D.C. So this is the eclipse in the country, and we can see that this eclipse, this solar eclipse, is occurring in the 10th house, and the 10th house in a mundane chart is the presidency. So I'm not really sure what that means. We're going to wait and see. I say I don't really know what that means because eclipses are wild cards, and until we go through it, all we know that there's going to be a big shift and a big change. And let me get right back to you on that degree that we have Mars and Uranus in conjunction. I'll be right back. Hi, I'm back. Okay, so I'm getting this information from this book. You've seen this book before with me, yes? Okay. 22 degrees of Aries. Now this is the conjunction of Uranus and Mars, and so it starts a new 2-year cycle of freedom, of action, of connecting with our higher mind and our higher self. It says the gate to the garden of all fulfilled desires, abundance made possible by human togetherness and cooperation. Let's see. So this is really about, the key word is cosmic optimism, interestingly enough. And so I think what Dane Rudger was trying to say to us is that with cooperation, we can make a difference. And we are at a place where we can no longer work against each other. I said recently in I think it was an article I wrote, or maybe it was just a blurb, where there is a point where it's convenient to have something to fight against that can bring unity, but ultimately we have to work together. It's not about fighting against something, but working towards something. And this conjunction of Mars and Uranus sort of promises that if we work together, we can make this, in the case of the United States, this country, live up to its promise. We can finally get our heads out of our butts and start doing things that are life-affirming instead of this horrible cult of death that we find ourselves in. Really, it's part of the rising of the feminine energy. You know, we have Vesta in that T-square. The feminine is all over the place. And next month, Venus is going to be doing its retrograde dance, and that occurs mostly in Aries, the sign of the warrior. And so the woman warrior, the feminine, is rising up and will be heard. And when she is heard, like the Million Woman March in Washington, it's a beautiful sound. And it's really here to bring balance and nurturing and love to this planet and to each other. So very exciting days ahead. I'm not really sure what that means, but I'll be here for you. And if you would like to contact me, I can be reached at Vicki at theseedsoftransformation.com. That's Vicki. I have a website, theseedsoftransformation.com. You can like this video. You can contact me many ways. But it's important that we stay connected and that we work together. And we can move through this time with as much grace as we can. And I have hope. Have a great day, and I'll see you again soon. Ciao.